Okay, good evening. Welcome. Juanita just got me lined up here. So I want to, this is the second part 2. And I really want to open up with the definition of fear is lack of knowledge. You've heard that people perish for a lack of knowledge. So, fear is lack of data or lack of knowledge. So I think that people do not understand about the immune system. They're like, the reason why the healthcare system is in a crisis is because they have they don't understand their health. They don't understand their immune systems. If you understand your immune system, there wouldn't be a lot of fear. And the reason why I say that is your immune system obviously is your defense system. Viruses attack immune systems, weakened immune systems. Typically the elderly, right? People with pre-existing health conditions like diabetes, autoimmune conditions, autoimmune diseases. All that means is people with weakened immune systems. So tonight what we're going to do is I want you to really understand that you can quantify with data, with testing, just how strong your immune system is. So tonight what we're going to do is I want you to really understand that you can quantify with... So, you got that? Yes, Juanita's got a little technical issue. So, viruses attack weakened immune systems, period. Viruses have weaknesses. And listen very closely. It doesn't have hardly any effect or influence over healthy people. People with strong immune systems, strong, healthy immune systems. So we're going to just keep it real simple tonight. So your family strategy, instead of being in tons of fear and listening to all the media, constantly feeding your head with fear, 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 how about we understand our bodies a little bit better? How about we understand that the power of God is inside the human body? And that if you remove interference to the power of God through scientific testing to quantify whether you have a suppressed immune system or whether you have a strong immune system, then the family does not have to live in total fear, which is lack of knowledge or data. So how do you do this? So first, like we covered last week, if you go back to last Tuesday night, we explained that the number one stressor or suppressor to the human immune system is stress. This is what weakens our immune system. Fear, stress, worry, threat to survival, overwhelmed by the bad news, all the media craziness. Did we lose these guys on Zoom? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. It just switched.
Oh,
awesome.
Okay.
Nope, it's good. It just kicks off, but it's still good.
Yes.
Thanks. A constant diet of media and TV, instead of going outside for walks, instead of limiting the media exposure to your brain, which will just go, like I talked about last week, on and on and on. It'll create more stress, more overwhelm, more fear. So when we get stressed, we default to junk food and sugar and alcohol and processed foods, which further compromise your immune system. So how do we know that an immune system is weak? So we do 30 to 40 case histories every single month. People that have been to the Mayo Clinic, people that have been to Duke, people that have been to Emory. Some of our patients that you guys are on here, you've seen these patients that have come in on disabilities with no energy, just totally older than what they are. And because we test differently, these people's lives change. You guys know Juanita. Juanita had severe, all sorts of symptomatology, all sorts of health problems. It's because Juanita never got tested properly. Her whole life turned around. Not only did she lose weight, her whole body changed. She lost 46 pounds because she got her stress under control. That was another thing. But going back to, how do you know your immune system is weak? Now, I want you to just look at yourselves right now. Is your energy decreased? Or do you have insomnia, poor sleep? These are the red lights. Symptoms are red lights on the dashboard to your body by God, okay? That's a red light on a dashboard of your automobile that gives you clues that you can reverse engineer through testing, and you can find out why the red light is on your dashboard. So, GI distress, intermittent periods of diarrhea, constipation, irritable bowel syndrome. Have you guys are you known as the gassy one? These are some of the things that you're going to be able to tell if you have a sick mate at home. Is there diabetes? Is there high blood pressure? Is there irregular heartbeats? Concentration difficulties, brain fog. If doctors would begin to listen more than 7 to 8 minutes or 10 minutes and not be hitting all their quotas because they can't do any good listening other than writing a script real quick and not really figuring out what the patient is saying to them, so they reverse engineer. You got to listen to a patient more than 10 to 15 minutes. And then the sick care disease management system is what you guys are in right now, because you have lack of data, lack of knowledge, lack of understanding of when your immune system is crying out to you. Do you have brain fog, getting sick all the time? Chronic fatigue, weakness, bronchitis, sinusitis, allergies, asthma, poor wound healing, skin issues. It's one of the biggest things in the world. Do you have bump skin? Do you have a history of psoriasis, eczema, acne on your teenager? Those are deeper serious red flags that you get one chance, if somebody's listening who's an expert. Is your doctor listening to these symptoms? Or is he just like handing out another medication, which we don't have any problems with medication, but medications cover up a lot of the symptoms and make you think you're okay and you're safe. They shut off a lot of the symptoms and the signals. That's what they're designed to do. Cover up the symptom, then you're healthy until the next bomb goes off. like you're seeing with all your aunts and uncles, your grandparents, your moms and dads, the people that you've lost early in your lives. That's a direct result of managing symptoms and not understanding that symptoms are clues for someone who listens to reverse engineer and figure out what that symptom really means. You don't just like cover that thing up and pretend it doesn't exist and go to Disneyland and hope everything's going to be all right and live in a fantasy. Fear is lack of knowledge. We have doctors that are overworked because there's so much sickness. Data point, objective data point. They don't have time to listen to you guys. They're too overwhelmed taking care of one of the greatest healthcare crises in the world. Have you looked at the rates of cancer, the rates of heart disease? Have you looked all around how many aunts and uncles you've lost? How many of your uncles are still here? Like mine all died from heart disease. How many of you have thyroid issues? How many of you have skin issues? How many of you guys, your energy is drained? And it's not like what it should be. How many of you feel so much older than you really should be? How about your hair? How's your hair feel? How's your skin? How are your nails growing? Is your hair thinned out because it's not getting nutrients from your food you're eating? And you have micronutrient malabsorption issues because your hair is like has dead ends and is like kind of just, it's not what it used to be. It's really thin. That's an indicator that there's a deeper underlying serious iceberg that's growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. The iceberg sinks the Titanics. That's a data point right now. We are in the midst of a huge crisis because nobody understands root cause issues. Nobody can listen long enough because they're under so much pressure to get the heck out of the room and their heads down writing scripts. It's not the healthcare workers' fault. It's your fault. Because you don't know enough of your body and they're managing all your crises. How many people have irregular heartbeats, racing hearts, high blood pressure? Guess what's stressing the heart? If you would test properly, you would find out what's stressing the heart. How many of you have anxiety, depression, anxiety attacks? How many of you have a kid who has focus issues, who can't concentrate? How many people have swelling in their limbs? How many people are on acid blockers, proton pump inhibitors, Tylenol, Tylenol for headaches, Tums, Rolaids, Prilosec? How many of you guys have acid splashing up into your throat when you sleep at night? How many females have a history of heavy clotting, cramping, irregular periods, and dark blood? And like just brutal cycles. How many females have histories of PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, growing abnormal polyps, thickened uterine linings, infertility issues? Like, this is everybody because they don't understand their immune system. These are red lights on the dashboard as the iceberg gets bigger, 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 and bigger. Probably the most important symptom is my energy. Gosh, I just want to feel normal again. I just want to feel like myself again. How many of you guys have normal labs and you've been told that it's in your head? But you know in your soul, in your inner knower, especially you females, that something's not right. Something's not right. You're right. Because sometimes you don't get tested properly. And something is seriously wrong and you are right. It's terrible if somebody tries to bully you and tell you it's in your head. You always trust your gut. You go by your soul. You never doubt that. That's God's internal radar system that you've been given. So you can solve your own puzzle. My labs are normal. They told me it's in my head. I began to think it was in my head. How about weight loss resistance? How about puffiness? How about Juanita when she came in and her neck was puffy, her biceps were puffy, her midsection was puffy? You know what that is? That's a huge immune system red flag. That means you're getting that Buddha belly. You're getting that muffin top for a reason, because the body never does anything stupid. That's your God-given fire extinguisher that's been put on the scene. Do you have a mate right now that's puffy? Like, if you take that seriously, you can kiss their brains goodbye. You can kiss their mood goodbye. You can kiss their sex drive goodbye. You can kiss, you can just watch them really just lose a lot of their activities, a lot of the things they care about, their passions, the things they love. Watch them go by real fast. You take that fluid on that system, and you don't understand that that's inflammation, systemic global inflammation that's burning down the inside of the house. It's killing all their hormone balance. It's killing their mood. It's killing their sleep. It's causing their brain to melt from systemic inflammation. It was a reason, if you guys pay attention, how many memory care centers are being built right now. How many people have short-term memory, brain fog, goes into dementia, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's? In your immediate circle of friends. Like, this is your immune system giving you warning signals that one of your mates are silently sick. But, you know, it works real good because this whole system is based and managed on disease symptom management. So nothing's going to change until you think differently, until you approach your bodies differently, until you get the fear out and start getting educated with a different approach. The weight loss resistance, the Buddha bellies, the muffin tops, the heavy fluid retention is one of the biggest nightmares that will come to haunt you later on. If you don't take that seriously, you have that means multi-system organ threat. Not only immune system, not only brain, not only cardiovascular, not only hormonal system, not only GI, gastrointestinal system, as more and more fats being wrapped around organs, and your mate gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because nobody is teaching you guys about your bodies. I mean, that's called accelerated death in the United States from ignorance, from lack of knowledge. That's what brings on the fear, is because you guys don't understand your bodies. You need to seriously think right now, in your immediate family, in your friends, at your church, look around and look at all the human suffering. It's from lack of knowledge. It's called selling sickness and allowing sickness to be okay. aiding and abetting sickness. Guess what? You are 100% responsible for your body by God. This is your experiencer. This is your Jesus jumpsuit. This is the thing you get to experience all your hobbies, your personal life, all your goals, all your aspirations, all your dream, all your human expression. Look where we're at right now in the United States. It's because our approaches to our bodies are terrible. Keep eating more drugs and see where you end up. I mean, my gosh. Drugs were meant to never have people on 17 drugs. I don't know if you saw recently on my Facebook page, the lady who brought in, rather middle-aged, like young middle-aged. She brought in all these drugs. We filled our whole countertop with all the drugs she was on. She was disabled. Anyway, allergies, frequent colds and flus. Were you on several antibiotics? How many of you had 5 antibiotics or more in your life? If you've had 10 or more, you can just kiss your whole immune system goodbye, because it carpet bombed the only thing that God brought you on the earth with and gave you as an immune system defense. All the antibiotics that were handed out in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, you know what those do? They completely wipe out your whole immune system defense. Your microbiome, your good bacteria. You could be a sitting duck right now and not even know it. It's not fear. This is your list to understand if you have a silent, suppressed immune system. I'm trying to help you guys. Heart palpitations, racing. How many of you had your gallbladders removed and cut out and you were told that they were no big deal? Juanita raised her hand.
My mom did.
And your mom? Yep. Yeah, let's just cut out one of the red lights on the dashboard, tell you that it's not important, it's no big deal. Your gallbladder releases bile, which breaks down the fats to protect your brain. 60% of your brain is made of fat. Your cell membranes are made of fat. So what if you can't even break down your fats? And you don't understand that. You die faster. You can't regenerate. You can't repair. These are important things you guys need to learn about. How many of you have given up on your hobbies or have decreased sex drive and you know, like you're just way older than you never thought you'd feel this way? I know I was. What about your mood? How's your mood? How's your kids' focus? Does your kid have attention deficit disorders? Is he just given a brain candy, a medication, and not really find out what the root cause is? How many of the kids have ADHD and ADD? How many of you have fibromyalgia out there? These are all important things to understand if you have immune system suppression. These are red lights on your Ferrari that is no longer a Ferrari. It's more like a golf cart with a governor on it. And if you continue to take more and more toxicity, which we're going to get into in upcoming weeks, we're going to talk about toxicity, you never solve anything. You just fill the fishbowl up with more and more toxins, more and more inflammation, more and more emotional stress, and then you become susceptible to a virus. Add a little TV and media stress and the rest of overwhelm and fight or flight state like we covered on last week, and man, your immune system bar goes down and suppressed, and it opens up you to a host of multiple labels, pathology, and disease. That's why I'm asking you to learn about your immune system. And I'm going to show you. So were you really sick as a kid? Did you have skin issues? Symptoms are your body's way of trying to communicate to you. They are not something to cover up and close your eyes and pretend that it's no big deal. How many of you how many of you right now, honestly, at 100% responsibility, have minimalized all the things you're going through and how you feel, how lousy you feel right now? You minimalize that, you're just asking for more and more problems. It's just a matter of time now that like the nation is under all this stress. If you minimalize and you don't take responsibility for the maintenance and the proper care and knowledge, you have a lot to be fearful of right now. You have a tremendous amount to be fearful right now. This is a wake-up call. Symptoms are red lights on the dashboard of your vehicle. They're warning lights. As the iceberg gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you minimize it bigger and bigger and bigger, and your arms get bigger and bigger, and your midsection gets bigger and bigger, and you feel crappier, and you don't want to invest in your health, you have decided at this moment to do different testing, immune system testing that you need to learn about, so pay attention. So how do you test your immune system? You test your foods because you're doing that on a daily basis. You test your good foods because those might be harmful to you too. Foods are a main source. How many meals a day do you guys eat? 2, 3? How many days a week do you eat? 7 days a week? 365 days a year? Most of your foods are poisoning you and causing drastic levels of destruction and inflammation. That's why it would be a good idea to test your foods. Healthy foods can be killing your organs. It's not one size fits all. Like you just get on a keto diet, Whole30 diet, a paleo diet, in which some of you have done and lost a whole bunch of weight, but the weight came back. How many of the weight came back, or was you had weight loss resistance? That's your body's big time call out to you to try to reach out to you and get you to shake you to understand that there's something seriously wrong with your body. Like if that weight comes right back on, that's an immune system marker for a doctor who listens more than 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes. The iceberg's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Your foods can be killing your organs. Your foods can be killing your brain. Your foods can be killing your immune system. You don't have to fear when you have knowledge. Because remember, probably the most important thing for you to understand is viruses have a weakness. They have a big weakness. They have hardly any effect or influence over a healthy immune system or a healthy body. You wouldn't be in this fight or flight state if you really truly learn more about that. So viruses attack weakened immune systems, period. So inside the immune system is a motor. In order to be a mechanic or a highly skilled diagnostician, you got to understand a stool test, a comprehensive stool test, to understand if you can make healthy cells, if you have silent infections, silent bacterial infections, immune system, parasite infections that cause tons of systemic inflammations and destroy your whole immune system and set you up for cardiovascular disease and cancers and all sorts of autoimmune disease and thyroid problems and hormonal imbalances and infertility issues and brain issues and attention issues and energy issues. You just learn, the immune system actually isn't that complicated. So you test your foods, you test your stools, you see if you can even make healthy cells. You see if you have bacterial imbalances or you're totally depleted from the 5, the 10, the 7, 8, 9, 10 plus antibiotics that you got through your lifetime. Remember, your immune system was carpet bombed, totally destroyed by all the antibiotics you've ever been given, or your kids have been given, or your husband's been given, or your mother or your dad. You walk around silently not knowing. No immune system. That's why you see all this cancer. We have all this cancer to manage because we don't understand immune systems and we don't know how to test for immune systems. So everybody's walking around with weak immune systems. So there's a million labels, there's a million drugs, and nothing ever gets solved. The iceberg just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's silent. You can't feel this. So your organs, your brain, your body dies faster than it should. You age faster. Then you lose all your dreams. You lose all your energy for your dreams, all your aspirations, all your relations, all your now momentness, because your brain is so inflamed and it's so malnourished that you're in a fight or flight state, or you need to be on the Adderall, you need to be on the clozapam, you need to be on the mental candy. It's because you lack of data. That's why you guys are all fearful. It's because you don't have the proper knowledge. You don't have the proper data. Lack of knowledge or data is the definition of fear. So disease is silent. That's the other thing. And we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. Disease is silent. These indicators are the only things that you have to understand: the chronic fatigue, the weakness, the bronchitis, the asthma history, the skin issues, the thyroid issues, the hair falling out, the heart, the irregular heartbeats, the anxiety, depression, the swelling, the acid reflux. Go ahead and minimize this stuff. And it's going to be, you'll have a lot to fear for sure. You don't feel like yourself. Your labs are normal. You have weight loss resistance. You've got Buddha bellies, muffin tops. You've had several antibiotics. You've had your gallbladder removed. You're moody. You've given up on your hobbies. This is your body's way to communicate that there's a problem. Decreased energy, poor sleep, GI issues, diarrhea, constipation. You're known as the gassy one. Concentration difficulties. Getting sick all the time. That's it, man. That's all. That's like all you got to understand. That you had immune system suppression, immune system red flags, and there's a bigger iceberg. So let's be objective and let's test. Do scientific testing that's different than the way you've been tested through all the deductibles that you paid for and and you still don't feel any better. Think about all the money you spent on all the deductibles because you didn't understand your immune system. I know that. Think about, just look at your mate. Look at how they're acting. Look at how they're interacting or not, or lack of. Look at their agitation, their shortness, the stress levels. So how many of you feel much older than you should? I know I did. Have you looked around at all the disease management and sickness? Do you think the system is actually working? Or do you think you should take responsibility and you should try to approach things differently, think differently, learn differently? Take responsibility for your body by God. You won't have to live in so much fear, and you won't have to live in so much human suffering if you do different. Disease is silent. Get tested. Get your immune system tested. You can't feel if your immune system's weakened. You have to quantify that through proper testing. There's micronutrient deficiencies. You get to quantify those through testing. See if you're deficient. You're not even feeding your cells properly. All right, this is we're coming down to the end. So you don't have to live in fear, but you got to do something differently. How many of you are sick and tired of being sick and tired? How many of you are just being mentally tough and you're like heroes? You're keeping the family going, you're keeping the kids going, you're keeping the husband and the wife going, you're taking it on the chin, but you're broken. Remember, you don't have to live in fear. Viruses have a weakness. Viruses actually don't have any effect on a healthy immune system. They don't have any influence over any healthy people. Just immune system ignorance. So let's end it. Let's end the fear and get your immune system tested properly, differently. Let me ask you, how has all the doctors that you've been to, how has that been working for you? If there's a small percentage and you're like, my doc's working great, his approach or her approach is working great, but how, honest to God, has what you've done up until this moment, how's that been going for you? What's the state of the family's health? God didn't make us a bunch of victims. The human team is the most powerful thing on earth. United, we stand. Divided, we fall. We have more power. We are love. The hands and feet of God on earth is love. Right now it's being decimated by ignorance. It's being decimated and destroyed by lack of knowledge. Our people perish for lack of knowledge. The hands and feet of God, the greatest thing on earth, is being destroyed because of big corporations that have vested interests. And they don't care because they're too busy making money. They don't care enough to listen. The power of one. Margaret Mead's quote, a small thoughtful, committed group of citizens is really the only thing that can change the world. If you're going to let your bloodstreams be destroyed by inflammation, toxicity, ignorance, lack of knowledge, then that is a choice. You have free will. But if you want to get your immune systems tested differently, there's an option. But you're going to have to do something totally different than what you've been doing up to this point. If you want different results, you've got to wake up. You don't have to live in fear, man. The human team, we're being terrorized right now by lack of knowledge and data. So it's as simple as a choice. If you want to choose, we are here for you. We certainly, if you've been a part of this practice, you've seen the results that this practice has done after people have been all over the country in all sorts of different places. That's because we do things differently. It's as simple as a choice to decide to get your immune system tested properly, differently, and to learn, not live in fear, educate yourself with knowledge and power. So I will offer you a free 15-minute virtual call phone consultation to determine if your immune system is at risk based on a case history, and then based on recommended testing, objective testing, to see how your motor, how your Ferrari has become a golf cart, really. You know? It's got a massive governor on it, a massive immune suppression. Ignore any of those 30 symptoms that I talked about and minimalize that, and that's a choice. Be like, whoa, maybe I've got something that's been missed. Maybe I should try a different approach. Then we're here for you. We're here for you with different testing. So there, I will offer for the next 2 days. April 1st is Wednesday. April 2nd is Thursday. If you call the office, we will do a 15-minute consultation and then determine if you need like a 30-minute consultation to be heard. For the first time, probably in a long time, many different doctor visits, you will be heard. And we will go through your whole case history, your mom's case history, because you're only as good as your mom's immune system. And you'll learn what that means as you get more educated. And we will do a 30-minute, if we have to, a 30-minute listening session to see if any of those red lights on the dashboard are really something to minimize or something to test, and reverse engineer from the symptomatology what the primary destruction, silent destruction of the iceberg is. Pay attention, you can save a lot of your friends, your family members from great human suffering if you find out what the root cause silent destroyers of the organs of your skin, your brain, really is. Find out and quantify through valid scientific testing, immune system testing, if you even have an immune system or if it's been struggling. It is the key root cause to many of the symptoms that you're on all sorts of medications and abnormal functioning. So for the next 2 days, we'll offer free 15-minute calls just to see if we need to do a more detailed consultation and more detailed testing. That's my gift to help the community. And if you've been in the office, you've seen many lives turn around. So that's what we're doing for you. So if you call the office at 864-412-8141 and you make an appointment with Juanita, we'll do a virtual phone consult, and you'll learn a lot. And quite frankly, you may get off the bus that's not working right now. But if things have been good and that are working, stay with that approach. Stay with that, those results. If you're not happy with your results, then you better think differently outside the box, and you better try something different and decide It's as simple as a decision. So thank you for getting on. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you. If you know somebody who's sick, who hasn't gotten results, please send this video to them. Let them watch the week before with the emotional stress, and then get them to understand this video with immune system testing. You don't have to live in fear. So thank you. Please protect your loved ones and your family members, and to get more educated and to get more knowledge. So thank you very much for being on. Next week, we will be doing another part 3 of the immune system. And so please like and share, love it, and what's that?
And pass it on.
And pass it on, as Juanita says. So good night, you guys. God bless.